What's happening, guys and gals? Welcome back to another episode with Mom and Papa Joe's.
With us being so close to the holidays, we'd like to take this time to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate. Today, we are going to be making seafood gumbo. I'll let Papa tell you about it.
This is a seafood gumbo recipe that I started cooking some 25 plus years ago when I first discovered the famous Cajun chef Justin Wilson. Over the years, I've slowly tweaked it to Papa Joe's style, and it is something special, absolutely delicious. We usually make it about once a year, and we hadn't made it prior to this, so this is going to be that one time of the year. And what the perfect time. It's nice and cool. Gumbo is something that is always extra special during times of cold weather. If this is your first time stopping in to check out the channel, we absolutely appreciate you coming to check in. We hope you enjoy what you see, and if you do, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. We need your help. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, let's get this show on the road. The first and most important part of a gumbo is a roux. A roux is a combination of oil and flour, shortening and flour. I'm going to start with 1 cup of canola oil. This is a half cup measuring device. So 1 cup. You can always use the oil of your choice. And then 2 parts flour. 1 cup oil, 2 cups of flour. I'm just going to gently whisk in. And this might appear to clump at first, but it will loosen up shortly. The idea behind this roux is to slowly cook out all this raw flour taste until you are left with something silky, shiny, Mississippi muddy chocolate color. I've got this stove on medium high, and we're just going to gently let this go. This might take me all of 45 minutes to an hour, just slowly under my watchful eye. No rush. You're welcome to speed this up by turning it higher, but I think the longer and slower you do it, the better the taste becomes. So while my roux is getting started, I'm going to come in here with almost 2 pounds of Andouille sausage, and I'm going to brown them to get out some of that oil before they go into the pot. I've got a tablespoon of shortening in this one. I'm also going to put a pound of 16 ounces. The bag was 16 ounces, but by the time I cut off the stem, I've probably got 3/4 of a pound of sliced in the little chunks okra. I'm going to fry these, brown them, more saute, just to get the sliminess out. This usually takes anywhere from 20 minutes to a half an hour. Okra is a traditional part of gumbo. If you're not a fan, you don't have to use it. Same thing with sausage. If you want strictly seafood, you don't have to add the sausage. But I guarantee you that sausage really complements seafood very well and amps up the taste. All right, here we are, 15 minutes in, medium-high heat, and we're already starting to take on a beautiful color. You can smell the nuttiness of this mixture as it cooks. So again, we're taking our time. Don't walk away very long, otherwise this could burn and you might have to start over. And here is our okra mix cooking. You can see the sliminess, the sticking together. When that disappears, it's a good indication that you have cooked it out. So just continue to gently saute this for maybe another 15 minutes or so. All right, here we are at 40 minutes, folks. Man, this is that dark Mississippi mud that I'm talking about. And if you let this sit a couple of 2-3 minutes, that shine will cover everything that you see. Great indication that it's just about where you want it. The longer this cooks, of course, the darker it gets. And the darker it gets, the more thickening power it loses. So, but the flavor is more pronounced, more developed. So you got to figure out what you want. Do you want some thickening power, or do you want the additional flavor? For me, right at 45 minutes is where I will call it good. And we've got another 3 or 4 minutes. Low and slow, guys. Still stirring constantly. My okra has pretty much dried out. You don't see any, if not very much of the sticky strands. So great indication. I'm also draining my andouille. Gonna toss these in some paper towel to get out as much fat as I can before they go into the gumbo. Here we are at 45 minutes. Look at that beautiful shine. What I'm gonna do now, I'm satisfied with my color. This color, 45 minutes, give me the thickness that I want in my soup, and that great flavor. So I think I've got the best of both worlds in 45 minutes. I'm not going to add the Trinity. Onions, 2 large yellow onions. I usually overdo onions, so I got about 2.5. I love onions. 1 red, 1 green bell pepper, and about a cup of celery. The Trinity. Directly into the roux. Woohoo! That's a lot. You've got to be careful because your roux will continue to brown even with the addition of these veggies. We're going to move this around and we're going to cook this roux with the veggies for about another 10 minutes or so until the onions soften and get clear. So I've transferred the roux along with the Trinity into my gumbo pot, and it's been going about 15 minutes, and everything looks pretty translucent, and it started cooking nicely. So now I'm going to add some chopped green onions, about a cup, about 3/4 of a cup of chopped parsley, and 1.5 tablespoons of garlic, and let this go about another 10 or so minutes. And then we will start adding some liquids. So it's about that time to add some liquids into this roux mixture. What I've got here, just a little over 4 quarts of a seafood stock that I made yesterday. A little over 4 quarts. Just gonna pour half of it in and get this going. This stock is cold to room temperature. You do not want to add a hot liquid to a hot roux because it will immediately begin to clump. You would not want to add a cold liquid to a cold roux. So one or the other has to be hot for it to integrate, for it to come together without clumping. And this has come together pretty nicely. You want to scrape the edges of your pot. You want to make sure you got everything off the bottom. Oh man, that is my color. I love that color. I absolutely love that color. The roux will not come to its full thickening power until it comes to a boil. So once this comes to a boil, we'll move it back to a simmer and let it go for an hour, hour and a half, just to get these veggies and this roux to really get to know each other. To this, I'm going to come back with, give or take a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. A good shake. The same of some Tabasco or hot sauce of your choice. I'm a Tabasco fan. And if you want a little more heat, you can add some cayenne or something along those lines. I'm going to come back with the rest of my stock. So that's a little over 4 quarts. Guys, I made this stock yesterday. I buy shrimp. Shrimp is going to go into this gumbo. I bought whole shrimp, heads on, about 3.5 pounds. So I cleaned and veined the shrimp, and I kept the heads in the shell. I made a stock. I had a couple of fish carcasses in my freezer from the last time I went fishing. I also threw them into that stock. I added some carrots, some celery, some parsley, and a little Creole seasoning to about 4 quarts of water, 4.5 quarts of water, and let that boil, and then simmer for about 2 hours. Strained it to create this stock. It's absolutely delicious. So this is seafood flavor on top of seafood flavor. Alright, so we're getting ready to kick this up. While our gumbo pot is boiling, or coming to a boil, I'm going to create a little baggie of additional herbs and spices that's going to kick this gumbo up a notch. I got this from my local Mexican meat market. It is 2 ounces of dried shrimp. I used 2 of them. I used half of a pack, so about 1 ounce yesterday when I made my shrimp stock, and I'm going to use the other half into my gumbo pot. I've got a couple of 4 small bay leaves. I'm also going to add half a bag of crab boil. This crab boil has no additional salt flavor, nor does these shrimp, but they bring so much to the party. Alright, so I'm only going to add about a half a bag, and it's great inside this cheesecloth because it's easy to fish out when you're done with it. You don't want all these stuff floating around gumbo you're trying to eat. Alright, this is something probably only Justin Wilson and I do. I'm going to add 2 cups of a dry white wine. It should be a wine that you're willing to drink. 2 cups. Along with my, I believe they call this, the French term, bouquet garni or something like that. Not important. Alright, that's going to be easy to fish out, but man, it's going to bring so much to the party. Man, it smells good already. This smells absolutely delicious. I'm going to drop in my sausage. And yes, this party has started. Alright, we are at a rolling boil. Now it's time to really get this party kicked off. We're going to ease into this salting. We're going to start with 1 tablespoon of Tony's. Remember, you can always add more salt, man, but you can't take it away. That's a half. And that's 1. We'll turn this down now. Remember, bring it up to a boil. That's when your roux reaches its full thickening power. Oh yeah, I forgot all about that fan. Periodically, we're going to be skimming the fat and any impurities that might float to the top. We're now going to let this cook for about a good hour, letting these ingredients get to know each other. What I've got here is a pound of clean crab meat. I've picked through, taking out any additional shells the processors might have missed. I'm just going to now really amp up the flavor. Not going to add it all, just going to add a small amount of all my seafood. Some good scallops, just a few, and a couple of pieces of crab. I've got Dungeness as well as some Maryland blue crabs. I don't know if they're Maryland blue crabs. These are probably called in Texas. But we've got some blue crabs. And those are just going in there to help kick up these flavor. I've got some white shrimp and some Texas Gulf shrimp. Just a few. Remember, shrimp shouldn't be cooked very long, otherwise it gets a little rubbery. But so those are just going in there to prime the pot, so to speak. I'm going to turn this to a simmer. Remember, we brought it to a rolling boil. And man, look at that sausage. One of the things I always do with sausage in my gumbo is I brown it, and I actually try to get a little bit of a char on the sausage. Those little crispy bits bring some additional oomph to the party. That's a tip you've got to incorporate. And my okra. I almost forgot to add my okra. All right, I'm gonna set my timer for 1 hour, and we will come back and finish this up. All right, here we are. We've been simmering for an hour, and periodically I've been skimming off a little oil, not very much, and that's the way I wanted it. That is what happens when you take the oil out of your sausage, and when you properly cook your roux. The oil does not separate from the flour, so we did not have a whole lot of oil floating on top. Excellent. So we simmered for an hour. I wanted everything to get to know each other, man, and it's come way past that. They've become family. With very little seafood, that stock is just so rich that this is going to be absolutely awesome. So I am going to put all of the crabs in and give this maybe another 20 minutes to a half an hour. Then I'm going to come back with the shrimp with the shrimp and scallops for maybe 20 minutes or so to make sure I do not overcook them. So we're probably looking at about another 30 to 40 minutes. Just let these crabs, these blue crabs and these Dungeness crabs do their thing, and we're going to be good. All right, it's been 35 minutes with those crabs in there. Let's finish this puppy out. Let's go with the rest of the crab meat. Every last drop. We're gonna go with the scallops. All that good scallop juice. And now the shrimp. We're only looking at about 20 minutes with the rest of this seafood in here. And we should be good to go. All right, we got another 5 minutes. Letting the rest of the seafood come to temperature and finish cooking, and I'm gonna come in with just a little bit Gumbo Filet. Alright, it's a personal preference that I put it in the pot as opposed to sprinkling it on the rice just before eating. Gumbo Filet from the sassafras tree is a flavor enhancer and a thickener. Doesn't require a whole lot, but again, it's a personal preference. So we've got 5 more minutes to go, and we are ready to go. All right, now it is time to see what we have. And what's great about this gumbo, guys and gals, is if you allow this to cool and refrigerate, it's even better the second day. Biggest problem is trying to reheat an item like shrimp. They don't reheat very well. I'm removing my little bouquet. It has served its purpose. So what a lot of people do prior to refrigerating or freezing, this freezes well, is they'll remove the shrimp and pretty much just freeze the juice. And when it comes time to reheat, they just simply thaw, heat up the liquid, and then add the shrimp. That way the shrimp does not become overcooked. All right, let's dish up a couple for Mama and myself. Oh. All right, Mama, you tell me what you think.
Man, the flavors really came together like a family. It is absolutely delicious.
That's what I'm talking about.
Great job, Papa.
This is absolutely delicious. Guys, gals, it's a little labor intensive, but it's absolutely worth the trouble. Give this a shot and let me know what you think. I want to thank you guys once again for hanging out with Mom and Papa Joe's. We really appreciate you guys watching what we do. And if you enjoyed it, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. And be on the lookout for our next videos. You know what you're going to get from Mom and Papa Joe's. You're going to get the good shit and not the bullshit. I want all of you to have a very Merry Christmas. Be safe, and let's have an excellent 2021. Take care.